At the edge of an African savanna clearing, a troop of baboons gathers around a fallen acacia pod, scanning the grasslands as they feed. In the distance, a lone hyena pauses, ears high, reading the movement of the group. These two species cross paths often, but rarely at close range. One relies on numbers and vigilance. The other survives through patience and opportunity. When their paths intersect, the outcome is never guaranteed. What happens when two of the savanna's most adaptable animals test each other's limits? In this documentary, we explore the real, science-backed interactions between baboons and hyenas, two highly intelligent, social mammals that share the same landscapes across much of sub-Saharan Africa. Every moment in this story is grounded in observed behavior recorded by wildlife researchers and long-term field studies. This encounter matters because it reveals how competition, cooperation, and survival shape life on the savanna. Baboons and hyenas don't hunt each other, but their overlapping diets and territories can lead to tense standoffs. Understanding these interactions helps us better appreciate how balance is maintained in complex ecosystems where resources are never guaranteed. This documentary is presented for educational and informational purposes only. All content is based on real-world animal behavior, supported by scientific research, ecological studies, and verified observations from reputable wildlife organizations and natural history sources. No information is fabricated, fictionalized, or exaggerated. Before we continue, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to support the channel and help us bring more nature stories to life. Baboons are among the most widespread primates in Africa, thriving in environments ranging from open grasslands to rocky escarpments. Their success comes from flexibility, eating fruits, seeds, insects, and occasionally small animals. Hyenas, especially spotted hyenas, are just as adaptable, capable of both hunting and scavenging, and traveling vast distances in search of food. Because of this overlap, their worlds frequently intersect. A carcass left behind by a lion, a seasonal fruiting tree, or even access to water during the dry months can draw both species into the same space. In these moments, behavior shifts. Baboons tighten their formation, staying close to dominant adults. Hyenas slow their approach, assessing numbers and posture rather than rushing in. Most encounters end without contact. Hyenas are cautious around large baboon troops, aware that coordinated defense can be effective. Baboons, in turn, rely on early detection and elevated ground to avoid escalation. But when resources are limited, neither side leaves easily. As the hyena edges closer, the baboon troop hesitates, holding position instead of retreating. The balance between caution and necessity hangs in the air, and the next decision could change the outcome of this meeting. As the distance between them narrows, the baboons shift their behavior. Adult males move to the outer edges of the troop, placing themselves between the hyena and the younger, more vulnerable members. This is a documented defensive pattern seen in baboon societies, where protection relies on visibility and group cohesion rather than direct confrontation. The hyena responds by stopping altogether. Unlike solitary predators, hyenas are skilled at reading social dynamics. A lone hyena facing a unified baboon troop risks injury, something that could be fatal in the wild. Instead of advancing, it circles slowly, watching for signs of weakness, an isolated individual, a distracted juvenile, or a moment when the group breaks formation. This standoff highlights a key reality of savanna life. Strength is not measured only by size or teeth, but by coordination and timing. Baboons rarely attack hyenas, but they are known to chase or bluff when confident in their numbers. Hyenas, in contrast, rely on patience, often waiting for circumstances to shift in their favor rather than forcing an encounter. Minutes pass. The baboons continue feeding, but their attention never fully leaves the hyena. Every movement is tracked. Every pause is calculated. The hyena lowers its head briefly, then looks away, not retreating, but signaling a temporary withdrawal. Yet the encounter isn't over. As the sun climbs higher and the savanna changes with the heat of the day, the balance that holds this fragile piece begins to shift, setting the stage for what happens next. As midday heat settles over the savanna, activity patterns begin to change. Baboons, active primarily during daylight, start to reduce movement, seeking shade and conserving energy. Feeding slows, and the tight defensive formation begins to loosen as individuals spread out among nearby rocks and shrubs. The hyena remains at a distance, but this change does not go unnoticed. Hyenas are known for their ability to wait, sometimes for hours, until conditions improve. Rather than approaching directly, the animal adjusts its position downwind, reducing its scent and maintaining visual contact with the troop. This is where overlap in daily rhythms creates tension. While hyenas are often more active at night, they are fully capable of daytime activity, especially when opportunity presents itself. A tired troop, distracted by heat and hunger, represents a different situation than a fully alert group earlier in the morning. One young baboon strays slightly farther from the core of the troop, focused on foraging among dry grasses. Instantly, alarm calls ripple through the group. Adults turn, regrouping with practiced speed. The hyena pauses again, reassessing the renewed cohesion. The moment passes without contact, but the message is clear. Even small shifts in attention can alter the balance. As afternoon approaches, both species remain locked in awareness, neither gaining ground, neither fully disengaging. The shared landscape continues to compress their choices, and the next phase of this encounter is shaped not by aggression, but by endurance and timing. As the afternoon wears on, the savanna begins to cool slightly, and long shadows stretch across the grass. This transition marks a subtle but important shift. Baboons prepare to move toward elevated sleeping sites, cliffs, large trees, or rocky outcrops that provide safety from ground-based predators overnight. The troop starts to travel as a unit, closing ranks once more. Movement becomes purposeful rather than scattered. This change reduces the hyena's options. Without isolation or confusion, the chance of exploiting the group diminishes rapidly. The hyena follows at a distance, not pursuing but observing. This behavior is well documented. Hyenas often trail other animals to learn patterns, locate future opportunities, or assess whether continued effort is worthwhile. Energy conservation is critical. Unnecessary risk or exertion can compromise survival. As the baboons reach higher ground, they gain a clear advantage. Elevated terrain allows early detection of threats and limits access for animals that rely on open space to maneuver. The hyena slows, then stops entirely. The landscape itself has drawn the boundary. With no confrontation and no clear gain, the hyena turns away, redirecting its focus toward the open plains where dusk may bring new possibilities. The baboons settle above, alert but stable, having navigated yet another challenge without escalation. But the story doesn't end with separation. Encounters like this shape future behavior, reinforcing strategies that both species will carry into their next meeting, somewhere else on the vast and shared savanna. Encounters between baboons and hyenas rarely end in physical clashes, yet they remain some of the most revealing interactions on the African savanna. What unfolds instead is a careful negotiation of space, timing, and energy. Both species survive not by constant aggression, but by knowing when to advance, when to hold ground, and when to walk away. For baboons, safety lies in cooperation, awareness, and the use of terrain. For hyenas, success depends on patience, adaptability, and the ability to read opportunity rather than force it. Neither animal dominates the landscape alone. Their survival is shaped by the presence of others and by the shifting conditions of the environment they share. These moments, quiet, unresolved, and often unseen, are what maintain balance in the wild. They remind us that nature is not defined by endless conflict, but by restraint, learning, and coexistence within complex systems. If you enjoyed this journey into the wild, subscribe for more real animal stories grounded in science and observation. Leave a comment below. What part of this encounter surprised you most?